everyone, my name is Leah and welcome back to my channel. I've never experienced a relationship in any form of media that has affected me in the way that Roy Mustang and Riza Hawkeye's relationship has. As someone who struggles to connect with romantic plot lines, something about theirs really spoke to me, and I think it's probably the fact that they don't really have much of a romance at all. I love the subtlety of their relationship, and I wanted to discuss what I think makes their dynamic so effective. Now, I'll be doing an overview and analysis of their development throughout the series. This will be quite spoilery, and I believe that everyone should watch Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood at least once. I cannot understate how incredible it is. So if you care about spoilers, go watch and then come on back, but if not, let's get into it. The world of Fullmetal Alchemist is one where science and magic are one and the same. Two young alchemists, Edward and Alphonse Elric, tragically lose their mother to an illness and are left with nothing but an absent father. In a desperate attempt to bring back their mother, the two brothers resort to the forbidden practice of human transmutation to resurrect her, and their attempt goes horribly wrong, with Ed losing an arm and leg and Al's entire body being stripped from him, forcing his soul to reside in a suit of armor. Enter Colonel Roy Mustang. In the midst of the boys' despair, he offers Ed the position of state alchemist. Though he would be required to serve in the military in times of national emergency, he would also receive access to restricted military research and assets. Ed accepts in hopes that the military's resources will help him and Al find a way to get their bodies back. Amestris, the country that most of our main characters reside in, is mostly run by the military, a military that both Roy and Riza are a part of, with Roy being a colonel and Riza being his lieutenant. Fun dynamic, I know, but there is so much more to them. Roy and Riza's relationship is a slow burn, but not in the traditional sense. They don't slowly discover what they mean to each other throughout the show, leading to a big romantic confession that ends with the two in a relationship. Their affection for each other has always existed, but the depth of their devotion is what's slowly revealed to us as we watch. In the first few episodes of the show, their dynamic is one where Roy seems a bit overconfident and silly, though we do see some glimpses of his terrifying competence, and Riza is the strict right-hand man who keeps him in check. I often see this played up in fan content, and while there's some truth to it, Roy and Riza both perform personalities, so they seem less suspicious to the upper brass. We'll talk more about Roy's plot to overtake the government when we get there, but I love that just like their relationship, you have to read in between the lines to understand who they truly are. Despite her rigidity, Riza is extremely kind, especially to the brothers. And Roy is ruthless and jaded, yet startlingly idealistic. We see small moments of their loyalty throughout the first chunk of the show. For example, when Roy's closest friend, Mace Hughes, dies at the hands of one of the show's villains, Envy, Roy suspects a government plot and asks Riza if she's willing to go up against the senior staff with him. Her answer is simply, "Do you even have to ask?" I think the first moment that truly peels back a layer on how deep their relationship goes is in episode 19, Death of the Undying. In this episode, one of the villains, Lust, fatally injures Roy, believing that she's killed him. Lust tells Riza as much, and her reaction is extremely telling. Calm, collected Riza Hawkeye is reduced to a screaming, frantic mess. It's almost strange to watch because her breakdown contradicts what we previously knew about her character. They would expect her to try to stay steady, to shoot lust with inhuman precision, and do her best to think of a logical solution. Instead, she shoots erratically, wasting her bullets, but not without leaving one for herself. She gives up without much of a fight, and we realize that with Roy gone, Riza has absolutely no will to live. This is fantastic foreshadowing for what will be revealed to us in later episodes, but for now, we just understand that they are more than colonel and lieutenant. Perhaps their feelings for each other are romantic, perhaps not, but in hearing Riza's devastated screams, it's clear there's history. Roy eventually pushes through his pain and saves the day, obliterating lust in his most incredible show of power yet. Despite his abilities being kind of terrifying when you think about them, Roy uses his alchemy exactly in the way it should be, to protect the people he loves. I believe that's part of what makes this scene so powerful. The embodiment of lust was killed by a man who loves so fiercely. We continue the same way until episode 30, the Ishvalan War of Extermination. This episode is just reveal after reveal. It begins with a flashback. Roy is sitting at the bedside of his alchemy teacher, who is near death. The teacher tells Roy that his daughter is in possession of his research and asks that Roy protect her. As he passes, Roy yells out his name, Master Hawkeye. This is huge. Now we know that part of the reason why Roy and Riza seem to have such a deep connection is that they've known each other since childhood. I love thinking about young Royai because of the sheer number of possibilities. Maybe they had a sweet romance when they were young. Maybe they became the best of friends, or maybe Riza hated Roy because her father treated him far better than he ever treated her. Who knows? Whatever the relationship was though, it's made so tragic by what comes next. After Riza's father dies, they have a really nice moment while standing at his grave. I adore this scene because it seems so sweet and inconspicuous. With Roy's naivete and idealism and Riza's belief in his dreams. Their conversation ends with Riza asking, "Can I trust you, Roy?" And then we get to spend the rest of the episode seeing exactly where that trust got them. Ishvalan was a country located in the desert east of Amestris. Its people had a deep sense of culture, religion, and community. Naturally, the Ishvalans resisted when Amestris attempted to annex them, although their protests would ultimately be unsuccessful. The people of Ishval grew distrustful of Amestris, and rightfully so, because soon enough, an Amestran soldier would shoot and kill an Ishvalan child. This incident began a civil war that, after 7 years, would become an outright genocide. One document sealed their fate, Executive Order 3066, in which Fuhrer Bradley initiated the Ishvalan War of Extermination. Roy would join the military as a state alchemist, and later Riza would join as well, inspired by Roy's idealism. But rather than doing the good that Roy spoke so highly of, they both participate in a genocide. We see Roy obliterate cities with his flame alchemy, and Riza kill Ishvalans as a sniper. Do they question and loathe what they are doing? Yes. Does that change the fact that they've killed hundreds? Not at all. It's something to reckon with, watching the characters you loved and rooted for commit acts so evil. And it's frighteningly real to see how naivete and propaganda can turn supposedly principled people into war criminals. After the flashback of Master Hawkeye's death, we see exactly what he meant by saying Riza was in possession of his research. While she's showering, we see a shot of her back, and tattooed on it are alchemical symbols, one of which being Roy's flame alchemy emblem. We also see burn marks covering parts of the tattoo, but I'll discuss that a little bit later. Riza's father criticized Roy for his trust in the military and refused to hand over his research while he was alive for that reason. This is me theorizing a bit, but I cannot see Bertolt Hawkeye being a good father. The fact that he tattooed his research on Riza, treating her more as a piece of paper than a human, especially when she knows nothing about alchemy, says a lot. And I feel that it's implied that he neglected her in favor of working on his research. I think that Riza saw a kindness in Roy that she had never seen in her father and trusted him because of that. She would have had to be so vulnerable to reveal her back to him, yet Roy uses the power that she gifted him with to do good, to commit atrocities. I think it devastates Riza that her father was right. Both Roy and Riza are equally responsible for the destruction that flame alchemy caused. It's a burden that they carry together. By the end of the war, Roy's idealism is no longer naive, it's pragmatic. His goals are clear and focused. He must become fewer, reveal the corruption of the military, restore power to the parliament, and rebuild the country to make it democratic again, as well as help to rebuild Ishvalan, all while bringing those praised as heroes during the war to trial. Roy is idealistic because he must be. His plans are far-fetched and achieving them will be unbelievably difficult. But he has to trust that they will come to fruition, or else he and Riza will never face retribution for what they've done. It's why Riza would rather end her life than live on without Roy. If he's gone, so is her chance to rebuild what they've broken. She understands the gravity of what she's done and lives to atone. Their goals take precedence over any romantic relationship they may have wanted, which is why I really disagree with the take that they were possibly having an affair during the series. I just don't think that they would risk anything getting in the way of their plan. After they return from Ishvalan, Roy takes Riza on as his assistant and gives her one order. I'm just gonna play the scene because it's one of my favorites.
I'm assigning you to be my assistant. I feel like I can trust you to watch my back. Although, I expect you understand what this means. You'll be able to shoot me in the back as well. If I ever deviate from this path, then I want you to shoot me. And I'm trusting you to do so. Do you accept my offer?
Of course I do, sir. I'll follow you into hell if you ask me to.
I adore that their characters don't revolve around their romance, or even a will they won't they side plot. The fact that Riza is fully willing to shoot Roy if he strays shows how truly devoted she is to changing a mistress and to burying any of her personal desires. Royai is a fantastically done tragedy, because if Roy and Riza had never met, their lives would be infinitely better. Roy would have never seen the research that allowed him to do so much damage in Ishvalan, and Riza would have never thought to join the military. Yet they've become so entangled, it's hard to imagine one existing without the other. They share their dreams, their guilt, their trauma, their history. They've both made a mess of each other's lives, yet despite that, they are the other's only hope for any kind of future. Anyway, we have a few more small moments between them after Fear Bradley, aka Wrath, effectively takes Riza hostage by making her his assistant. Like this one.
And, worst of all,
I'll follow you into hell if you want.
they've even taken my queen.
Or this scene, which kinda just shows why I like these two so much.
Hello?
Hello there, madam. This is your neighborhood florist.
What are you talking about, Colonel?
Sorry. I kinda got drunk and somehow bought a car full of flowers. You wanna do me a favor and take some off my hands?
What's wrong? Did something happen?
No, sir. It's nothing.
Are you sure?
Yes, sir. Everything's fine. And sorry to let you down, but I don't even own a flower vase.
After Riza encounters Pride, she's clearly rattled, and when Roy calls her, she gives no indication that something happened. Yet somehow Roy just knows Riza's not okay. The framing is not particularly romantic, and not many words are spoken. I love how subtle it is, and how the scene says so much about the relationship with so little. Okay, now we're moving on to my favorite episode in the series, episode 54, Beyond the Inferno. We begin in Ishvalan with Riza kneeling before the grave of a dead child. There she asks Roy to burn the tattoo off her back, so that nobody can ever use flame alchemy again. When we saw the tattoo in episode 30, it wasn't fully burned as she requested. I don't think Roy could bear to hurt her more than he already had. It's hard to imagine how difficult it would have been for him to burn Riza. To hear her scream in agony, to add the person he loves most to the list of people he's harmed with his alchemy. Alternatively though, I think that Riza would find the experience freeing. She no longer has to carry her father's burden, and she can ensure that Roy can never happen again. Earlier mentioned Mace Hughes, Roy's best friend who was murdered by envy. In this episode, Roy has a chance to face off against them, and he is brutal. It's not the same effective and calculated brutality he used against Lust, quickly killing her to protect Riza and Al. No, he tortures envy. He is cruel and slow and wrathful, and he enjoys it thoroughly. Roy has always had this rage bubbling beneath the surface, especially since Hugh's death. I think he's always known that he's predisposed to a certain level of anger and vengefulness. It's why he asked Riza to shoot him, because he knew that the possibility he would stray from his path was not improbable. The Roy we see in this sequence is terrifying, and suddenly we understand how he was capable of doing what he did in Ishvalan. Riza eventually catches up to Roy though, and she watches. She watches as the man she loves gives in to revenge and hate, the power she gave corrupting him. Not only has she watched flame alchemy consume Roy, but also her father. It drove him mad in a different way, but it hurt her nonetheless. I love to watch reactions to Fullmetal Alchemist, and I feel like a lot of people get upset when Riza takes Envy and tells Roy that she'll finish the job. Envy deserves to die. They're evil, and that's not really up for debate. But Roy wasn't just killing Envy, he was giving in to his wrath, and that is something he absolutely cannot afford to do, because the current Führer, the one who initiated the atrocities that Roy is trying to stop from ever happening again, is the personification of that exact emotion. Scar put it perfectly when he said, "I shudder to think what kind of world a man held captive by his own hate would create once he becomes its ruler." And that is why Riza's gun ends up pointed at the back of Roy's skull, because she's loyal to a fault, and he strayed. Roy does not relent until he asks Riza what she plans to do when she shoots him. She responds by telling him that she plans to end her life and remove the secrets of flame alchemy for good. We've seen how little value Riza puts on her own life time and time again. She can't live without Roy, but Roy also cannot live without her. She's his rock, his anchor, his moral compass, and that's what makes him stop. Despite the hurt and grief they've caused each other over and over again, they will never fail to pull each other out of their darkest moments. In a later scene, we see Riza get her throat slit in order to try and force Roy to commit human transmutation. Riza, who we know has very little respect for her own life, fights with everything inside her to stay alive. She could never live in a world without Roy, but she also doesn't want Roy to live in a world without her. Obviously, though, she tells him that he cannot commit the taboo. And even though he soon realizes there's a way out, I truly believe that for a moment, Roy would have let Riza die. He would have respected Riza's wish and not have risked everything they worked for. I think that's true unselfish love. It kind of parallels the way Riza would kill Roy. They both have the maturity to look at the bigger picture. In the final act of the show, Roy is blind and Riza is severely injured. They are in no condition to fight, but they do, and they substitute for each other's weaknesses. Roy holds Riza up, and Riza acts as his eyes. Ultimately, this scene represents what Royai is all about. Despite everything, they make each other stronger. The way we end off with the two of them is very open-ended. Anything could happen, and that's what I love. I love that there are so many possibilities that I could think of to where their future could go. I'm not sure if this is an unpopular opinion, but I'm kind of the belief that I cannot see them getting married or having kids or really functioning in a regular romantic relationship. Maybe that's just because I love Royai as a tragedy, but I just feel that with their trauma and guilt and all the things that they have going on, it just wouldn't allow them to get married, let alone have kids. Now, in terms of parenting, I feel that they would be okay parents, but I don't know. I can't envision it for some reason, but let me know what your ideal Royai future would be. I'm not exactly sure what mine would be, but yeah, definitely something a little bit bittersweet. I really like their ending photograph for that reason. They don't have a family like Ed and Winry, and there's something melancholic about their photograph. It seems that they're on their way to completing their goal. Roy's in a higher position, but they both look unhappy, and I don't really know if I could see them being truly happy in their future, but who knows? Fullmetal Alchemist is a hopeful story after all, so maybe my interpretation goes a little bit against the thesis of Fullmetal Alchemist as a whole, but that's just how I feel about their future. Now, I talked about Royai's big moments throughout the series, and while those scenes are so necessary and a large part of why I love them so much, I mostly love these two for their lack of big moments. Their relationship is quiet, their story told through understanding glances and unspoken devotion. Both characters are interesting and fleshed out in their own right, but their main goals have nothing to do with their romance. They're all the more interesting for it. Even if they weren't romantically involved and they had some kind of secret third thing devotion going on, which I kind of love, they would still be compelling. Sometimes characters are dumbed down and flattened so they can fit into some kind of romance plot. But I feel like more subtle stories that feature ambiguous relationships with characters who are already devoted to each other for reasons outside of romance are my favorite things. The ambiguity allows for fans to have room to explore and theorize, which is something you don't always have a chance to do with a fully established relationship, but it also leaves out the immaturity that a will they won't they story often brings. Alright, well those are my thoughts for now. I'll probably make more videos on Fullmetal Alchemist because I absolutely adore it. And if you enjoyed my Royai takes, then I actually have a fanfiction recommendation list that I'm gonna link in the description in case it seems like you might like a similar characterization. I hope you enjoyed the video, and please let me know your thoughts on Roy and Riza in the comments. I would absolutely love to hear them. Alright, bye-bye!